Fuck! Fuck! Fuck!
Oh, you stupid motherfucker!
You're gonna find me dead! I'm gonna kill myself!
Hit the fucking guy! What the fuck is he doing?
I'm gonna be hanging from the bathroom!
They got the leg!
Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey Jerry, and we're recording live today from Steel City Clothing in downtown on Smithfield Street. One of my favorite local companies. You have to check out their clothing if you're a sports fan, if you're a Pitt football fan, Steelers fan, Penguins, Pirates, they have it all. It's a really great clothing line, and it's important for us, me and Jerry especially, to help out like local companies, Pittsburgh native companies. It's a whole big thing that we're doing here with the podcast, is to make sure that we get local companies involved, shine some light on them. Having said that, this was a big weekend for Jerry and I. Yep. The Steelers finally got a big win, and not just that. Jerry and I both cashed in on some big bets, but Jerry way more than I. So tell him what you hit on, Jerry.
Yeah, so basically, Dave was going Octagon side, UFC 281, and he's like, hey, what do you like? And I told him, I said, here's two plays that I like, take them if you want. One of them was plus 190. It was Dan Hooker by finish.
Yep.
The other one was Poirier by submission. So he said, fuck it, I'm going to put some money on both. He put some money on both, and they both fucking won. They both cashed out huge. So what he did, he said, listen, thanks for the tips, thanks for the picks, appreciate it. I know you've been struggling gambling this football season, so I'm going to give you a free bet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put $50,000 on it, and we'll split the winnings. Any bet you want, one bet. And I said to myself, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this the right way. I'm going to go out on my fucking shield. I'm going to say to myself, it's Pittsburgh or nothing. I'd rather die with my own team than win on another team. You know what I mean? So I said, fuck it. Give me 50 dimes on the Steelers to win. And they got the big win, and JJ cashed out for 25 dimes.
For what people don't know is what 50 dimes is. That's 50 G's. So a dime is $1,000 bet. So Jerry texts me that. He tells me on the way down to the stadium, I'm sitting in the line to get into the parking lot for the terrible tailgate, and he texts me. He's like, I think if the Steelers win today, Portnoy's going to split a $50,000 bet with me. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me, man. So he puts that thought into my mind. So after bonging 10 Kenny bongs pregame, I'm like, I get in there. It's 12:55. I'm like, I can't let Jerry ride alone. So I put $1,000 on it.
Hell yeah.
And so the entire game, we're back and forth. Every possession when you have that much money riding on the line feels like the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Big time. For sure. Dude. And it was a little skeptical of a game in the first half. I thought, my mindset going in was, if there's going to be a Kenny breakout game, this is the game. They were banged up. The Saints were missing everybody. So I said to myself, before the game, I was like, if there's going to be a Kenny breakout game, it's going to be this game. They're banged up. Their defense isn't playing good. We can stop them easily on our defensive side of the ball. Kenny should have no problem. And it was weird the first half, man. They looked really, really shaky, and Kenny looked a little off too in the first half. He did.
Oh, Jerry. I mean, he was more than a little off. I mean, let's keep it all the way 100 for the viewers. Kenny Pickett did not look good in the first half. I mean, he missed a lot of throws. He was sailing throws. There were guys. There's one specific play that I'm thinking of in my mind where he throws to Freiermuth off to the right side, and he's triple covered. I mean, there's no chance this ball gets completed. And meanwhile, he has Deontay Johnson streaking dead cross middle of the field. Doesn't even look at him, doesn't even see him, and he, the very first play of the game, that very first throw, he has the Pickens coming across the middle through the right side, and he threw it behind him. But, a lot of that is I just don't know that Kenny is used to seeing those routes where we're getting, wide receivers that are sprinting across the middle of the field. And two, he's still finding the playbook. He's still finding the right plays. You know what I mean? Like, it's not as though he had training camp to find all of these things.
No, like, here's the thing. Like, and I see people, a lot of hate towards Kenny on Twitter. You know what I mean? Listen, he has a shitty first half. He doesn't play good.
Yeah.
But, you know what I mean? He comes out in the second half. We're running the ball good. He made a couple really good throws. And, you say to yourself, yes, Big Ben is rookie year. Did he win a bunch of games? Yes, he did.
How?
Did he have these overwhelming stats? No, not
No.
really, not at all. They
No.
ran the ball really good his rookie year, so he didn't have to do much. He won some games. One thing I will say this between Ben's rookie year and Kenny's rookie year. Ben won a lot of games. Kenny's not winning a lot of games.
Right.
And Ben did this. Ben extended a lot of plays. He really did. And you've seen some flashes of that in the second half with Kenny with his legs.
Absolutely.
Converting on third downs, you know what I mean? So, listen, I'm still behind the guy. Did he have a shitty first half? Yeah, of course. I can admit that. He had a shitty first half. But,
Right.
for the guys out there that say, he's not the fucking guy, get him out of there, bench him, you can't do that now. You can't do that. You ripped the Band-Aid
he's
off.
our quarterback the rest of the season.
Yes,
You're not going back to Mitch. I mean, he's definitely the guy. And we just listened to Tomlin's press conference about a half an hour ago, and I don't know if you got to listen to it, Jared, but so Tomlin was really, really optimistic. Like, he came out and said he has been happy with Kenny's development in every facet of the game, which is interesting. And I think I've had 2 days to let this sit in my mind and figure out, what my stance on Kenny was, because during the game, during that first half, I tweeted, I'm like, Kenny's just not playing well. Like, he's been really bad so far. And up to that point, he was. I mean, Kenny was not having a great football game. And let's keep it very real. Kenny hasn't had one complete game where we can look at it and say, oh my God, the guy's playing out of his mind.
Yeah, not yet.
He's 100%. He's had a 250 passing yard game, 2 touchdowns, no picks. We haven't seen one of those yet.
But he didn't. Speaking of picks, he didn't turn the ball over. I will say that, which was very big.
Exactly. So I'll read you his stat line. He was 18 of 30, 199 yards, 51 rushing yards, the rushing touchdown, and we got the win. Looking at those stats, and you watched Taylor Heinicke last night for the Commanders end up upsetting the Eagles. He had a stat line that was almost identical to Kenny's. And when I watched him, I'm like, wow, this guy's playing really good football. But yet when I watch Kenny, I'm like, he just can't get it going. And
because
I just
you're so used to seeing Ben. That's why we're all so used to winning football games week after week. We're also used to making the playoffs. We're also used to being spoiled with Ben back there making great passes, not so much the last 2-3 years of his career, but we're just so used to having a Hall of Fame quarterback, it's gonna look bad.
Right. No, you're spot on. And we hinted on it early when you said that he extended the drives with his legs, because I think what Kenny did massively well on Sunday was he felt some of the pressure, but the one thing you want to remember is he was leaving pockets early sometimes too. He extended the plays.
He does that.
Right. And I just think that that's a matter of, like, if the first read is not there, his second nature is to just scramble backwards out of the pocket. It works, but it doesn't always work. And that should not be the go-to, because when they make that the go-to, teams are going to key on that. You know what I mean? Then he's screwed because the edge rushers are just going to peel back to the outside, and then he's fucked. And that's not something that we can have him doing. But if you looked at that game and you still think that Kenny is not very good, I just don't know what you're looking for just yet. He won the game. He won the football game. I mean, that's moxie. He found a way to gut it out, grind it out, and win. And what you said was Ben's rookie year was not that great because he didn't have statistical blowouts. Ben was not a freak statistically his rookie year, but what did Ben have helping him was an insane defense and an incredible running game. And Jerry, what did we see out of the Steelers on Sunday?
Yeah, dude, you ran the ball amazing, over 200, and this defense stepped up. And that's the recipe to win Steelers football.
That's exactly what we said at the beginning of the year. If we could rely heavily on the run game, give the defense a break, which we finally got. The defense finally got some wind because we extended so many drives, because we possessed the ball for so long. It wasn't 3 and out every drive. I felt like we had very few 3 and outs on Sunday, which is a great. It's trending in the right direction. When you're 3-6 or a 2-6 football team, the things that you need to remember as a fan is, are they getting better from the last game? Because if they're not, then we're stuck in this shitty boat and it's never going to improve. But they did. What the hell was that, Jerry?
Oh, that was the radiator. I thought that was the sign.
So did I. I thought we lost a brand new sign.
That was the radiator cover. Shout out to the sign, though. That's a fire sign.
That sign is electric. Someone, Jerry, who actually made you that?
This guy, I mean, for the listeners that don't really know much about me, I'm sober. I've been sober for like over 7 years now. And I run this Tuesday private Zoom meeting. This kid that's in the Zoom meeting, he's a recovering addict and alcoholic, and he works for a sign company. And he's like, JJ, I want to make you a sign, man. Something really cool to do with the Steelers podcast theme. And he just whipped it up, dude. And it's friggin' sick, bro.
It's electric. That sign is absolutely electric.
Yeah, dude. It's really, really cool.
We're going to have to get him to make a second one.
It's our actual logo. It's got the Pittsburgh in the back and stuff.
Oh, yeah. The skyline at the top.
Really
yeah,
cool.
No, that's a beautiful sign.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else was beautiful was that running game. And that's the Steelers hit it on Sunday. They did everything you would want them to do to win a football game. Now, are the Saints good? No, they're terrible. They're dog shit. We should have beat them. And you said it. They had like 8 backup players playing.
Yeah.
So we should have won the game. If you're looking at it, through rose-colored lens, you would see that the Steelers won the game. But if you're keeping it real and you're being critical about it, we still have issues in the red zone.
Yeah.
We still are not finishing drives at all in the red zone. And that is that's been an Achilles heel for the Steelers for a few years now, man. We just don't finish the drives. And it could have been a blowout. Steelers could have scored 30-plus points for the first time in what feels like forever.
It should have been a blowout. It really should have.
The defense played. What are those dogs?
I got 5 French bulldogs, bro.
5?
Yeah, dude.
Jared's running a pound down there.
They're crazy, bro. It's tough to, I was excited for the sign to our first recording. You're at Steel City. I got the new sign. I said this is going to be a great episode. They fuck everything up, bro. They're just terrible.
Yeah, it is what it is, Jared. They're excited. They want to get a little airtime.
Yeah.
The defense, though. The defense, Jerry, was phenomenal. I mean, is TJ Watt really worth, the $110 million that we paid him? Yes.
Yep. He is. He is. I mean, it's just, it's crazy to think how one guy can make such a difference. But I feel like when he's out there, the defense, they just feed off of him, bro. And especially that, I think the first drive of the game for or might have even been the first play of the game that the Saints ran. TJ Watt has a tackle for loss. It was like the first or second play of the game.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that stadium was pretty loud.
You have no idea. First, they announced him, and I recorded it to put it on Twitter so that people could at least experience what it's like. Your outside linebacker from Wisconsin, TJ Watt, and the barn just erupts.
Yeah.
And one thing that TJ does, he brings the energy.
Yeah.
Like, there are not many players that are down on the field that will hype up the crowd every single time consistently, and TJ does it, and he does it every single snap. And you can feel when the fans see him doing that, because the stadium gets louder. Like they respond to him hyping it up. And so when he comes out and he sets the tone the way that he did in one of those first or second plays where he just bullies the guy in the backfield, TJ Watt is a game wrecker. Whenever I think of TJ Watt, not being out these last, 6 games, I'm thinking in my mind how many of those were 1-score losses. Yeah. And I tweeted something. Do we believe that TJ would be worth at least 2 more wins had he played the entire season and the quarterback position played out the same way that it has? Would TJ have been worth another 2 wins?
I think so.
Without a doubt. What we saw out of him Sunday would lead me to believe that we would have beat either one of the Dolphins, which we couldn't finish the game on, the Jets, the Patriots, maybe even the Browns. We could have won 2 of those 4 games if TJ Watt effect was in there. So, it is exciting to know that, we sucked and it felt like the sky was falling, and we get TJ back and the defense is electric again. But it wasn't just that. Tip the cap to Damontae Kazee.
Yep.
Jared. Damontae Kazee balled out there. First game back, he got hurt. I believe it was in that Lions preseason game.
We were there when he got hurt.
Yeah. And so he came back, and what a spark plug he was, especially just finding out a couple days prior that Minkah was going to be out with the appendicitis. So to see Damontae Kazee come in and ball the way that he did, what a shot of life into that defense between, 90 and Kazee coming back, man. That's the most fun I've had watching the Steelers at home this year. I mean, it was at least a blast on that end of things.
Oh, yeah. No, he definitely stepped up to the plate. He really did. And you've seen a little bit of the TJ Watt effect with Alex Highsmith.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You've seen that too, him getting pressures on the quarterback, him getting sacks, you've seen it. You've seen it firsthand with Highsmith, how, just TJ Watt being there, so much attention goes to TJ Watt. I mean, he got doubled the whole game pretty much.
Yep.
And that just opens the door up for other players. And hey, what happened to I didn't really read much into it, but Jack didn't play. He suited up, but he didn't play.
Yeah, and which you could tell. You could see it on the field because Robert Spillane is terrible.
Yeah,
Robert
he's not
Spillane,
good in coverage whatsoever.
there's no way that guy should be covering tight ends. On one, when it was 10-3 and the Saints are marching, you have DeMonte Casey takes that penalty down the right sideline, the
Awful
unnecessary roughness. It's a bad call because that's football, man. It's a bang bang play. I don't know what the NFL expects teams to do, especially defenders. There's nothing they can do.
No.
There's literally nothing they can do to protect themselves because he caught the ball, he hits him. Not that he maybe glanced his helmet, possibly, but I mean, I don't know how you can throw a penalty on that and not throw a penalty pretty much every play if you wanted to.
Yeah.
That aside, it was 3 straight passes to Juwan Johnson where Robert Spillane is in coverage, first down, then the touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a liability out there. So I don't know why Miles Jack did not play, but that's something to monitor because Robert Spillane is just not it. I would rather see Mark Robinson play than see Robert Spillane.
Yeah, I didn't understand it really because he's suited up. I didn't know if he's dealing with an injury, if he got benched. I'm not sure why we would bench him.
Yeah, I don't.
If he did something pre-game, I'm not sure, but I definitely want to keep an eye out on that for next week.
The good news about this coming game is that we're probably going to get to see Minkah again. So Tomlin just said in his press conference, he's very optimistic on Minkah, and Minkah allegedly wanted to play on Sunday, but Tomlin's like, it was just too soon. It wouldn't have been the right thing to do, but we might get Minkah back. And I don't want to start getting excited about things because I just don't think there's any legitimate life to this season, but we could reel off some wins because there are some really bad football teams the second half. And though, we're not the best team in football, we're trending in the right direction, I would say. Yeah,
for sure. And also, thing to keep an eye out, the Bengals have yet to win a divisional football game.
Exactly.
So if we beat the Bengals, this has the makings of the Steelers pretty much getting that second round. It's not second round, second spot in the division.
Right, which is crazy because we have 2 games left against the Ravens.
Yeah,
I mean, people forget that the Steelers aren't in contention in the division right now, and let's not get ahead of ourselves. It was 1 win. Let's keep it pretty sane here, but it was a good win, and we were building on some things from the run game where the against the Eagles, the Steelers rushed for, I want to say like 155 yards, another 220, something like that against the Saints. It was a 2 weeks where they've had more rushing yards than at any 2 weeks combined since 2014.
Wow.
So we're finding the recipe. We're finding the things that it's going to take to win football games. You get a healthy defense. You can control the ball with the run game. You're going to be in some football games. And we knew that this was the case this season. So it's really nice to finally see it come together. It took, 9 games to finally get it going, but it's nice to actually see the product on the field improving.
Yeah, I'm just a little upset that game. And I understand. But the game being flexed out kind of pissed me off a little bit.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks because a Sunday night football game is electric. The tailgate is electric when it's Sunday night football.
Yeah.
4 o'clock's not bad, though. That's still a pretty solid time. Yeah. You get to drink some beers early. You still get to get home at a decent time. It's not the end of the world. When those are Sunday night football games, I'm paying the piper a heavy price for that hangover on Monday morning. Yeah. I'll tell you that much, Jared.
Yeah.
What did you think about Matt Canada?
I think he's shown some signs of improvement. I mean, coming right off the bat, you've seen it first play of the game. Pickens across the middle, definitely opened up the middle of the field for sure. And I thought he called a solid game. I really did. I thought he called a solid game. Pickens on the goal line was a pretty good play for the touchdown. You've seen a lot of that with Chase Claypool. He's gone. And Pickens going to take over that spot. Inside the 5, the Steelers like to run that play a lot. Who knows? But a good play call. I think it worked 2 times this season.
Yep.
But yeah, I think he overall, I'd give him a B. I think he called a really good game.
Of the 9 games we've played this season, this is undoubtedly the best game that he called from an offensive coordinator situation. I mean, he did some things that we have been begging for. We have been, banging the drum to see. Throw across the middle of the field, run some crossers, run some slants across the middle of the field. Stop playing outside the hashes because every team knows it. And finally, we saw a lot of that, this game. Kenny thrown to the middle of the field. And I think, again, we hit on it earlier. That could be a lot of the reason that Kenny, missed a couple of those throws early because he's not used to looking to the middle of the field. Yeah. You got to figure through 5 of his starts, we didn't really throw a ton of balls to the middle of the field. So that's not even a route concept that he is looking at just yet. So that's going to take some time to, become second nature in his mind.
For sure. No, 100%. Just glad they utilized the whole football field for once. And look at the result, comes at a cost of a win.
And and it helped the running game, helps
Yeah.
those types of things. You can use play action a little bit, on that end of it. So they all work in tandem. So to finally be able to see us run the ball, opened up some of the passing, opened up the middle of the field. Najee, Jerry, we ride these guys into the dirt, and for whatever reason,
Yeah, they
you
rise up.
lift them right out of the ashes.
Yeah, and then that leads me to my that's my all heart player of the week, Najee Harris, man. I'm biting my tongue this week on him, that's for sure. He ran the ball hard. You seen it from the first run he had. Head down, hit the hole, and just look what happens. Look what happens. I mean, he gets a lot of first downs. He rushed for a lot. So yeah, dude, I'm biting my tongue this week. He had a great game. I don't got a bad word to say about him this week. He stepped up to the plate big time. He really did. Opened up, room for Kenny at the end of the football game to make some nice passes. Hit DJ on a nice pass down the sideline. So Najee Harris, that's my all heart player of the week this week, no doubt about it.
And he earned it. He absolutely earned it this week. That's become a theme on this show. We beat the shit out of these guys, and then they eventually come back and have their best game of the season following that. And we've ridden Najee into the dirt, and he comes out and performs. We did it to Devin Bush. He's been performing. Even Levi Wallace, we said he might not be the guy.
Yeah.
And what's he do? He comes out and has that pick.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we just got to talk shit. Kenny sucks, Jerry. Kenny's fucking terrible. He might be the worst draft pick ever. He's the worst quarterback we've ever could have selected. I don't know if that guy will ever throw a touchdown pass.
We'll see what happens against the Bengals.
Right. My all heart player this week is actually going to be, it is Najee and it's Jaylen Warren. It's both of them.
Yeah.
Because if we're going to win football games, that's how we're going to win football games. And it's going to let Kenny develop at a much easier pace than throwing him to the Wolves and having to throw 40 or 50 times a game. Their stat line from Sunday, Najee had 20 rushes, 99 yards. Jaylen had 9 rushes, 37 yards, and he had 3 additional catches for 30 yards, 136 total. We had 217 as a team, and Kenny contributed to a good bit of that. We had mentioned earlier with his legs. The one, honestly, probably my favorite play of the game that came from the rushing was Najee's. He had that long run. It was like 40 yards or 36 yards or something like that. Yeah. He breaks a couple tackles. He comes out to the left side. And that play alone was electric. But if you rewatch it back, I don't know if you got to see this.
Yeah, Kenny.
He's 45 yards downfield. He's sprinting 19.1 miles per hour downfield. Kenny Pickett rolls out, hands it off, rolls out to the outside like you would see any standard running play, develop. And then he sees that he has a chance to spring a block downfield, and he jets down the field to help try and make a block at the end of the play.
Yep.
To see your quarterback doing that has to ignite the entire roster. Like maybe he didn't pass the ball great, and he didn't have the greatest giant stat numbers, but he's still contributing every fucking way that he can to win football games. And it is really hard to be upset about that aspect of it, because that shit is what it takes to breed that atmosphere in a locker room.
100%. Yeah, man. I mean, just shows he's a gamer, man. He's a fucking gamer.
He's going to win. Like, he might not always be nice, but he's going to try and win.
Yeah, whether you like him or not as a Steelers fan, the effort is usually always there. It usually is always there. And that's all I can ask for right now, just trying his best to win football games. I think that was his second win as a starter, right? Was it the second one?
Yep.
So, hopefully we'll see more of that towards the end of the season. I'm just really looking forward to this Bengals game. I really am.
Oh, it's gonna be a real litmus test for us. We're gonna be able to see, because we saw them week 1, and I'm sure they've made some adjustments. There will be no Jamar Chase, which is nice. It will be no Jamar Chase. If we can get this thing to 4-6, knowing that you have a very bad Raiders team coming to town Christmas Eve, a very bad Colts team, we have the Falcons, the Panthers.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Steelers could win some football games, and I really hate to continue to think this and then let myself fall back in this wormhole where there's a chance we have life, but we're not dead yet. We're not entirely dead yet. If we can beat the Bengals Sunday, there's still a faint heartbeat left in this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you lose to the Bengals, any hopes of playoffs is completely dead.
Cooked, dead at that point.
Yeah.
Fried, not a chance in hell that it's going to happen.
They can only really afford the Steelers to lose, I'd say, 2 more games the rest of the season.
Agreed. That's where I have it at.
They only
9 and 8.
And we're probably going to end up either splitting with the Ravens, or, Ravens are really good, so they could definitely win 2 games. But, you lose to the Bengals, you might see the Steelers lose a fluke one to a Colts team who isn't very, very good.
Right.
They do have a spark now with the new head coach, Jeff Saturday. You could see them possibly losing last week of the year. I think they play the Browns. Is it the Browns?
Yep, last game of the
You
season.
can see that, but I'm telling you, if they beat the Bengals and go 2-0 against them this year, and they somehow, some way, get 2 against the Ravens, this is playoffs.
100%, which is fucking crazy that we're saying this. Like, it's so hard for me to let my brain think this, but it's wild what 1-1 will do for the morale of everybody, the fan base, the players. I mean, you saw they were hype after the game for sure. So you never know what, the influx of energy that a guy like TJ Watt is going to bring to a team. I think it makes them believe they could win every game. Then they're going to have a chance every game when he's out there on the field.
I'd say so.
It brings me to my tweet of the week, and it's Teresa Varley, and she quoted, this was TJ after the game. He had said, "They were wild, going crazy. I hope we can keep that up. I want them to know how big of an advantage it is for us as a defense. It makes life hell for the offenses. We're going to continue to try and make plays to feed off of them." TJ Watt on the Steelers today. And it was what I hinted at earlier. The fans finally, they showed up a little bit, and it was not a completely packed stadium, which breaks my heart that there are still people that don't, at least give their tickets away if they can't sell them. Get people in the stadium. This is supposed to be a football city. I should never see an empty seat in there. It breaks my heart that happens. But TJ had every person that was there fucking going, and they were roaring. And there were second down and third down plays where it was genuinely loud enough that I'm like, all right, now this is real home field. Because what that does, what people fail to realize is when you have a legitimate home field where it is so loud, when the ball is snapped, sometimes the right tackle and the left tackle, being that they're so far away from the center and the quarterback, they aren't hearing it in time, and it buys a half of a second for a guy like Alex Highsmith or a guy like TJ Watt to break the edge. And that is when you can run up numbers on the sacks. So it's really, really nice to see the fans respond. And that's TJ Watt. He brings the energy, and I love that guy.
Oh,
what do you have for the tweet of the week?
Mine is actually going to come from a source that a lot of people don't like.
Oh, boy.
But it's from Filippone.
Yeah, okay.
I think yesterday he tweeted this. Kenny Pickett didn't turn the ball over, made a few plays, both with his arms and legs, and the Steelers won the game, which is exactly what Big Ben did his rookie year. Mm-hmm. What is there to rip about the guy right now? Because you've seen a lot of tweets. People, Steelers win, and they're just bashing Kenny.
Right.
And listen, am I a little biased? I could always admit that. Yes, I am a little biased. But when I come back to reality, he played like shit in the first half. We touched on that. But he made some big plays in the second half, and he won the football game. Like, no need to fucking bash him to the point where it's like, this guy fucking sucks. Like, dude, he doesn't suck. He's not terrible. We don't have what's that fucking crumb from a few years ago on the Cowboys? Ben DiNucci at quarterback.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I mean, listen, he's a gamer. He's trying to win games, and
he's figuring it out.
Especially when he scored that QB sneak. I mean, you've seen the emotion, man. He's fucking. He wants to win, man. He's excited, And did he play like shit? Yes, I will admit that the first half, but he came back in the second half, put his head down, made some big throws, and he ran the ball great. So hat off to Kenny.
Right. And one thing I want to say in regards, how's your battery on your computer? So for those who don't know, we might have to cut this episode a little short because Jerry doesn't have a charger for it. It's always something with Jerry's technicals when we record.
Yeah, it's about 9% right now.
All right, we got 9%, so let's wrap it up soon. But the Kenny Pickett is one of those people that just hates losing more than he likes winning, I would say. So much so that I think we might have talked about this earlier, or maybe you and I talked about it privately, but there were some things that came out when Kenny was in high school and he was getting recruited, and he looked around, the top 100 quarterbacks that were going to be recruited or whoever was in his local area. And he was finding guys who had better scholarships or, were going to better schools or were 4-star or 5-star. Cause I think Kenny was a 3-star coming out of high school. So he looked at those guys and went to his head coach in high school and had his head coach put him in the same groups for throwing camps so that he could prove that he was better than those guys.
Yeah.
That's a fucking maniac's mentality, but that's what it takes in my opinion, because if that means you're a tireless worker. You would die before you would lose if you have the ability to make that.
Yeah.
And it's hard to not want that to be the mentality of the guy who leads your team and your franchise, because eventually that's going to rub off on other guys in that locker room. So yes, the fans just got to cool it on, expecting the world out of him right now, because we won a football game. It was his second win. Now the Buccaneers game, is he going to get credit for it? Yes, because he started the game. Did he win the game? No, it was Mitch. But nonetheless, Kenny Pickett has 2 wins out of 5 starts, and they were some pretty hard games that he was playing in.
Yeah,
so
it was.
Let's cool it a little on that end of it. Let's lead into first, we have the phone number finally. So we have the Google Voice phone number. So that number, I believe I sent it to Jerry here last week. It is 412-259-3362. When you call that number, you're going to get Jerry and I's voicemail, and you can leave us a message. Let us know how you feel. If it's someone you want to rant about, someone you want to complain about, you're excited, you're sad, whatever it was. We got a few voicemails this last week. Jerry, I think I sent you the one while you were at that Barstool Invitational Friday night.
Yeah, it was a guy going through some mental health stuff, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
North Carolina. He said he doesn't get to talk to many people about Steelers football, so he loved that he could leave us a message. He loves the podcast and things of that nature. So for whoever that was in North Carolina, we got you, brother. Keep your head up. Things are going to get better. It doesn't rain forever. The sun eventually does shine. So don't forget that. Yep. The betting, speaking of the sun shining, we both got a win on the bets. Yes, we hit it at the beginning. I won $880. Jerry won the 25 G's, which is big. That is big after having a bad first half start to the season. But we hit our individual head-to-head bets. I had the Steelers under 41. Jerry had the Steelers money line. So on the season, I'm 4-5. Jerry is 4-5. So we're trying to claw out of a hole on that end. What are you thinking about this week, Jerry?
Just a gut reaction. 5 is just way too many points.
It's a lot.
It's a lot of points for a divisional game, hostile environment, cold.
It's a lot.
So I lean towards the Steelers +5. Do I think the Steelers could lose this game? Yeah. Do I think it's going to be by more than 5? I don't. I feel like this is a field goal type of game. Mm-hmm. I could even see a 2017 final. If the Steelers do lose, I could see a 2017 final. Steelers win. I'd say the Steelers are going to have to put up more than 3 touchdowns to win this game.
Agreed. I think the number we need to hit this week is going to be 24 to 27 points.
Yeah.
I think if we can get to 24 to 27 points, we're going to be in good shape. The Bengals still have a very good offense, even without Jamar Chase. So they're going to put some points on the board. Now, we had the recipe week 1 when we played them just because we rushed the shit out of Burrow and everything went our way on that end. But it's not like they're going to come out and lay over for us. Now, it's a home game. It is a divisional game. It's 4:30. So sometimes the energy is incredible for those games just because people have a chance to wake up. They might be a little more drunk because they got started a little bit earlier in the day on that end of it. The line as it reads is Pittsburgh +5, +185 for the money line. The over-under is 41 points. I this week am going to take George Pickens over on receptions. I don't know what the number is, so check your line on the Barstool Sportsbook app whenever that eventually comes out. But I'm taking the over on George Pickens. He's coming on. He's coming on in a big way. They're getting him involved in a lot of different ways. I think this is going to be another one of those games. He might have only had 3 catches on Sunday, which tells me he's going to come back and get 5 or 6 this week. I bet you the over-under on catches is 4.5 or 5.5. Yeah. I'm taking the over. Over George Pickens catches, whatever the number is.
I love it.
We appreciate you guys. It means the world to us that you continue to listen to us. There are so many people. I know you don't get to come to a lot of home games, Jared, but there are so many people that I meet at the Terrible Tailgate, which again will be going in Red Lot 5A this weekend. But they constantly are reaching out saying that we love listening to you and Jerry do this podcast. It really is a blast for us to do, to be able to get on here, mostly venting, winning. It's nice to celebrate. Yeah. If you want to share this, share it wherever you find it. Like, comment, subscribe to the Jersey Jerry YouTube channel. It means the world to us every week. Tell a friend about it. It takes 1 second right now to hop down there and leave a comment and like on the YouTube. Anything you want to add on that end, Jerry?
Yeah, no, listen, appreciate everybody. Really love doing this. It's great for us. It's great for everybody else who tunes in. I think we bring up some valid points regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're not filtered like some other networks, some other Steelers podcasts. We say it how it is. Yeah, are we really not professional? Probably not, but who gives
Not at all. I don't give a shit about that. In today's day and age, you don't have to be.
I got radiators, covers coming off, Frenchie's barking. I mean, it is what it is. That's what you get when you come to the channel.
Hey, someone must be liking it. So again, we recorded today from Steel City on Smithfield Street downtown here. There is another Steel City location in Cranberry if you guys want to check that out. That opened at some point in this past year. I do love the Steel City clothing. It fits well. It's very comfortable. I'm gonna have to see about getting you some, Jared.
Yeah, tell them what I mean. I'm part of the show. This is my show too. Give me some fucking gear.
I'll get you some stuff. I'll make sure I'll let the girl here know that we need to get Jersey Jerry some stuff here to represent out in New York. But it has been a great episode. Jerry and I are working hard, not to tell you guys that we're going to get guests on here, but we are busting our ass to get some guests on here for you guys. It's just, it doesn't always line up with their schedule when we record. Like there's a lot of moving parts as far as that is concerned. We are going to get you some guests this season. I can assure you of that.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. It's just tough, like our day to record is usually on Tuesdays. Their day off is on Mondays. It's hard for us to record on Mondays. Then when it comes time to record, they can only record certain times, and we're not available during those times. So it's all, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we're working on it. Just hang in there with us. We're continuing to grow. We're going to take this thing to the moon with you guys' support. So we appreciate it. We will see you guys next week. Leave us a call on the Steel Here hotline. You can also find that number. We'll put it on the screen, but you can also find that number on our the Steel Here Twitter account. It's right in the bio. So leave us a message. Next week we're gonna start playing a couple of these each week, and we're gonna be able to interact with you guys a little bit more on that end. We appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you again next week.
Later. See you next week.
Later, Jer.
We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.